Hey, Adam.
Yep.
Are you a bootlegger?
I'm not personally, but it's very possible that some Manuses from generations back might have been bootleggers.
Ah, interesting. Some Martins as well.
Oh, interesting.
Not related to me, though.
Sure, of course not. I'm Adam Menace.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Music advice coming at you.
Coming at you today, sponsored by Open Studio. Hey, you know what? We have another person here working on this podcast. Well, there's Open Studio. Caleb, show him the Caleb cam. That's producer Caleb. He's out of focus. Your knackered computer is in focus. You are out of focus, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Let me stand up here. Okay.
There you go. That's good.
That work?
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Caleb running the...
By popular request.
Yeah.
Caleb Cam is back by
popular
popular
request. Got a Caleb mic, too.
Right.
By the way.
And we did we had some nice comments in the YouTube. Hey, if you haven't seen our YouTube channel, go check it out because there's
Would that be something you might be interested in?
It's something I'd be very interested in, and I think folks would be. You can leave a comment. There's a lively discussion that often goes over there for some of our episodes. It's just a cool place to kind of see. You can hear the pod, of course, but you can also see the pod there.
Yeah, look, my career is coming in
Waste
the back
management
of
in
a
the house.
Truck.
WM. Keep on
managing the waste.
Keep on managing the waste.
All right.
So today,
this is your episode, buddy. Keep it on track. You have to be the one keeping it on track. I can't do it for you.
No, definitely.
Actually, I might try.
I'm excited about today's episode.
I might try to give a duck and dive and
weave? Are you
bob and weave in
weaving?
different directions. I'm going to play the Peter role here. And
You're doing good with your mic placement too. There. How am I doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you very much.
Like We've been instructed to have our mics in a certain position. So.
Were you instructed to constantly fidget with it
no,
and hold it?
That's bonus.
You weren't instructed? Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, it's a nervous tick.
Okay.
No, I'm really excited today, because we talk about music advice coming at you. That's what we're here for. That's what we love to talk about. We love to learn. We love to grow. We love music. Sue us.
Don't sue us.
But the topic of bootlegs, we haven't talked about maybe ever. No, I'm sure we've talked a little bit.
Such an important thing, too.
It's such an important thing. Yeah. How did we let us get, to episode 1178 or wherever we're at?
We must have had one episode in that whole time on bootlegs.
Surely. But I mean, I'm really excited because should we just dive right in?
Let's dive in.
Yeah. First of all, what is a bootleg?
That's a great question.
That's because I hate it when people try to be like, "Oh, you're not a jazz insider. You don't know our cool hipster terms with our hats."
Yeah.
So why don't you tell the folks what a bootleg is?
So a bootleg is a legal copy of something that is produced outside of the norms of production. That's how I would define it. So
that's interesting. I never thought of the lack of legality outside the law, running from the man.
There's to me, a bootleg, anything, and we kind of alluded to bootleggers in the 1920s during Prohibition.
Right.
Here in America, of course, alcohol was illegal for some reason for a decade. They thought that would work. And so there was a whole industry of bootleggers who would make their own alcohol or moonshine, or even just run their own sort of distribution illegally beyond the law. And that was business. There's still bootlegging of things like, I don't know if there is anymore.
Software, that was a big thing for a while.
Software,
like a Chinese CD-ROM version of Microsoft Office.
In New York, 97. You would have people on the street selling, back in the day, bootleg DVDs or bootleg VHSs of movies.
Or bootleg Movado watches on Canal Street. I was just in New York. Shout out to Canal Street. I was staying a block away. They're still doing that.
Bootleg capital of America. Yeah. But or you could even get my favorite is like a movie that's out, a big movie, right? It's out that week. Version. And then someone's got a bootleg on the street, and have you ever seen those?
Yes. Oh, I used to buy
in the theater with a camera.
I know. People laughing, standing up.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's a bootleg.
That's old school.
And so, in the context of what we're talking about here, a lot of us who grew up pre-internet.
Yeah.
And and there's still bootlegs obviously on YouTube and on the internet, but this was it's a different culture than it was back in the day, where people would go see live music, you go see your favorite players, and for me, man, it was the mini disc. That was the technology du jour of bootlegging when I was growing up.
It had the size, the quality, combination, the recordability.
That's
you could go external mic, but you could still slip it in a pocket. Obviously pre-phone.
And then people would get really brazen with it. Like they'd have it on the table. I remember seeing a Jazz St. Louis and a microphone set up and a bootlegging right there from the side of the stage.
Well, I had a a very good friend, fantastic pianist from Houston, who's been in New Orleans for years, Mr. Jesse McBride.
Yeah.
Shout out Jesse.
Yeah.
Who used to bootleg. Or I guess, is it bootlegging if you have the consent of the performers? It's not really bootlegging. It's just recording the gig.
Yeah,
but we still call it bootleg.
It's still
right?
a bootleg. Because it's an informal recording of a concert.
He used to record my gigs at Snug Harbor and different things, and then he was getting a lot of his own. He was a student of mine, and young cat coming up, and then was quickly getting a bunch of his own gigs. But he would come and put the mini disc under the piano. He had found the perfect place.
Yeah.
And he would always, ask. I mean, I told him, I was like, do it whenever. I was like, I can tell you some better people to learn the solos, but if you must, go ahead. But he would record a bunch of gigs, and then he'd come back on the break, or he'd be like, if you can remember, press stop at the end of it on his mini disc.
Come on, you're an engineer too, Jesse? Come on.
But it was such a cool thing, And I mean, I think we all had the different experiences, whether you're just going and trying to absorb it all and learn something, and bootlegging some lick that you heard, but then to be able to record it. But because I remember before the mini disc, when like the adapt machine, they were expensive, they were kind of bulky. I remember being with Betty Carter in 1991, her stopping a gig at a club in Europe, and was like, she's like, I see a thing. No, somebody was video, which was a lot. She saw the light, and she's like, no, and then she made him come over and give up the Betamax or whatever it was.
How far we've come since those days.
Now it's all fair game.
I never actually bootlegged myself. I never had a mini disc recorder, but I was the benefit of friends and people passing around, basically what you call mixtapes now, or oftentimes put on like a CDR or something. Yeah. And I had some good ones, man. I had some Schofield.
Sco.
You know who might be a community that might bootleg more than jazz musicians is like the jam band scene.
Oh, Grateful Dead. They were the first ones to like make it allowed and trading it and the whole thing.
I had a friend who was really into the band Widespread Panic, and he had like a whole collection of bootleg live recordings, and he would just like listen to them just with pure joy of all of the solos and the differences that would happen, and feeling like he was there. It was really cool.
The interesting thing about it is that I feel like now obviously you can go and see kind of the modern equivalent of bootlegs is videos, phone videos of concerts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What's a bootleg if on Instagram people are sharing
or live streaming even.
Or oftentimes like Caleb and I we opened for what was that gig? Where was that? The Tool place? We played a Tool place.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Makita Saws?
It was Makita Saws. It was a tool library. It's actually a really hip spot where you can like rent tools.
Hip or hipster?
Both. But we played for the All Night Trio was coming through town. Matt Villinger and Peter Slam. And they were like, hey.
Shout out expats in Kansas City.
I know, right? They were like, hey, tag us on videos and send us video. Like that's like bootlegging is encouraged, and like we want to use your self-recorded things.
And that we've talked about a lot. Like, is it good video? And like, or should you be there in the moment, or is everybody behind their screens? I think we've addressed that, and that's a little bit maybe what's different. And what I'm excited about, we're going to be diving into some bootlegs from years in the past that are being delivered with modern newsletter technology. Yeah. But I think this idea, like what I'm excited about this is the quality. I feel like the quality's gone down. There's more quicker, like you can go, Beyonce's on tour in Europe apparently now, because my YouTube feed is like, little shorts that people take of.
I'm thinking about getting tickets. She's coming through town.
Is she coming?
Yeah,
Let's
I might take my kids.
Let's do that. Oh, yeah. I thought we could go
just
together. So you'll hear it. And you'll hear the podcast.
Bootleg it?
We'll bootleg it and call it a business expense. No, but I mean, like the quality of the audio has gone down. So like when you talk about with mini disc
sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff I see, it's just like, even if it's somebody I really want to see, people don't know how to, it's too easy,
and the phone.
Yeah. And like we were bootlegging or like trading bootlegs so that you could learn, like, wow, can you believe what Roy Hargrove played on this thing?
Right, on this
but you had to be able to hear it, and there was no video.
Yeah.
And so it was like putting you in that audio place. It wasn't just about like, oh, you see something cool, what somebody's wearing. It was really about the music.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was for the Uber fans and for the musicians, basically.
Shout out to Bernie's bootlegs. How about that?
Bernie's
Old school,
bootlegs. Yeah.
YouTube bootlegger.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
So what we're going to dive into today, and I'll just go ahead and share my screen here, see if this works. Boom. Modern technology. Okay, Yannick Gwizdala. Big shout out Yannick.
What's up, Yannick?
Yannick
OG.
is well known, but in case some of you don't know him, he's an amazing electric bass player out of, well, he's been in LA for years. I believe he's from London originally.
I meant like
he talks funny. Let's put it that way.
Music lesson, online music lesson.
Yes,
OG
pioneer,
for sure.
in the online music
for what
space.
we do here at Open Studio.
Big inspiration to Peter Martin lessons, to Open Studio, to the original. Big shout out there. An amazing educator. I mean, he's played with Michael Brecker and just a who's who of sort of the jazz fusion and jazz and pop scene. Super successful, super great player. But he's been doing this thing called The Practice Room, which is a Substack newsletter. That's what you call it, right?
Yep.
And so if you don't know about this, we'll link below in this episode and on the YouTube to it. You can also just go search The Practice Room. It's
Substack's
Yannick
amazing, by the way.
Substack is great.
Yeah.
But basically what he does, he has this series called ASAD, which is a song a day. And I was already on his list. He does great blog posts. He does great instructional things. But he started this, I don't know, just a couple of months ago, because he's on number 49 today. And you get an email every day. I believe he's like 5 days a week, whatever it is. But it kind of has evolved, or maybe it even started as this. I didn't really realize it as bootlegs. So for instance, this Brian Blade, this is today's. This is Crooked Creek live at the Village Vanguard.
You know, I love some Crooked
in
Creek.
2005. Yeah. So let's just listen a little bit of that, and then I mean, listen to that. You hear the Vanguard. You hear the.
It's got a vibe.
Yeah. This is curated by somebody who knows their stuff. You know.
Chris Thomas. Shout out to CT.
Shout out Chris Thomas.
One of the greatest. And
St. Louis's own.
St. Louis's own, the greatest cat too.
And I'll just sort of jump. We're going to listen to a bunch of things. And this is mainly so you get a feel for the quality. John Coward. So I'll just say this is not CD quality, but it's so much better than iPhone quality. I love just being able to hear it. You feel like you're in the Vanguard. It's 2005. I love Yannick's words that, it's the first two Fellowship albums, were pivotal moments for me as a fan. Like, he really takes you on his story about how he, his influence. I don't know if he recorded this or if somebody else did.
I feel the same way about those first two Fellowship albums, by the way.
Yeah.
It totally changed the way you think about how you can make music.
And this was from a period where, I knew the music and it was a short period of time when I wasn't playing with Chris Thomas and Brian Blade as much. Yeah. So I didn't follow it as closely, although I feel like I'm kind of a part of this era too. But it's just so fun to like go there, to have the story, to have the music. It's almost a nice break from the video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's beautiful, man.
And and he's really curated some great tracks. So I'll show you a couple of other things.
We're going to put a link here to this, Caleb, so we can...
Yeah, the practice room.
The practice room, so that you can go support and listen to some great music.
And it's free to sign up. I believe he has paid tiers. I'm not even really sure, but I mean, he's just such a sharing, if you do go check this out, give a shout out and tell him that send our regards from the You'll Hear podcast, and that's where you heard about it, because we just want to spread. I mean, it's almost too much to. I keep it in my email, and I cherish the times when I can then sit and listen to it, because it's every day. But I don't think they're going anywhere. This one is amazing. Check this out. So this is live in the Netherlands, 2005, Stella by Starlight, Keith Jarrett Trio. Ever heard of him? Let me move.
Sound.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all heard Keith play Stella, but I never heard this version. I've heard him play it live. Like, it's so exciting to hear so exciting that I'm talking over it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, so you can check that out. But no, we just want to give a little
beautiful sample. Yeah.
This one's cool. Christian McBride with Joshua Redman with the Wish Band.
Yes.
Live in Boulder, Colorado.
Hell yeah.
And this sort of just took me back to this time. And then, Yannick's got some great just words to say and understanding, of course.
Yeah, his little descriptions, that makes it sound trivial.
He's like modern day liner
They're
notes.
just short descriptions.
Yeah.
Are so well thought out, and he's a really good writer.
Yep.
And that really helps. And obviously a great educator. So it just he's picking out just the right things to think about to start, that spark.
Yep.
What?
Pat Metheny, Billy Higgins. This sounds like Christian might have recorded, or a bass player. It's like right up on the bass.
It is right up on the bass. Yeah, I bet this recorder is on the other side of the bass from the drums, because you can barely hear the drums.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just it's like puts you back at this time, puts you on the stage with them. It's fantastic.
It's fun, man. Just the sound of bootlegs, of just like you can tell a recorder is somewhere on or near stage.
Right.
It brings back so many memories.
Okay, here we go. This is something that you're gonna like. Adam.
Okay.
Adam will either.
I like the people that are involved already.
Yeah, Larry Goldings with the Micro Brecker Quartet from Smoke.
Oh. Should have wore my Hans Groener shirt. Hey.
This sounds like they were making a live CD.
George Benson would come sit in. Wow. Adam Rogers, Bill Stewart. Wow. Hey.
That real dry, close sound of Smoke.
Smoke's a great sounding room, man.
It's great. Yeah, so it's just, man, this is so fun. Okay, now this one is kind of funny because I'd actually heard this one before. This is not a Yannick exclusive necessarily. This might even be floating around on YouTube, but it's so great because anyone who's following along with this, I think would be super interested in this. This is D'Angelo, Spanish Joint, which is a song I believe he wrote with Charlie Hunter, but I think Hunter might have added his stuff on later. I'm not sure. This is kind of a little bit known acoustic piano
D'Angelo's playing piano.
Demo, exactly. And he's talking about it a little bit.
I'll come along.
I think I've heard this.
There's this joint I wrote called Spanish Joint. It's on the Voodoo album.
D'Angelo's legit, man.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah, so it's just cool stuff that he's found here.
The singing is so good.
I know.
It's incredible.
I got one more here. So it's all very jazz, like straight ahead 90s stuff. Not all straight ahead, whatever. I mean, it's all kind of within here, but he goes into these jazz adjacent areas or whatever we call them that I think are they're right up my, chimney stack, as they would say.
Your wheelhouse had a wheelhouse.
If my wheelhouse had a wheelhouse, it would be D'Angelo singing and playing the piano. All right, so this is cool because I love this trio, and this is Reginald Veal, Jeff Tane Watts. Shout out Tane, shout out Veal, shout out Branford. And this is going back. This is 97 at the Knitting Factory. Shout out Knitting Factory. You remember that place?
Downtown, baby.
Yeah. That was back when downtown you had to play different than uptown. Remember?
Yeah,
It was it's the downtown guys. Oh, Branford's bringing this trio with no piano downtown. Watch it.
It's gonna get out. Reginald Veal. I don't know why I'm looking.
I know, I pushed it up.
Sorry.
The cordless trio is one of
So good.
But it's so great what he says about Reginald here and stuff, like his insights. Reginald Vale has been one of my favorite upright players since I first discovered jazz. I think he's hugely underrated player.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hugely underrated.
I highly recommend doing a deep dive on Veal's incredibly swinging poetic bass line. Yeah, so I mean, it's just really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. To me, this is kind of the modern bootleg. You know what I mean? What a beautiful way to share it. You can see, I mean, it's got crazy stuff. John Mayer with Marcus Miller and Herbie Hancock live in Ohio. Pearl Jam, Life Wasted, 2006, from Albany, New York. I mean, it's a curated list of just really interesting stuff, I think. Don Grolnick with Joe Henderson and Randy Brecker.
Just from the context of like a larger, music media perspective, these kinds of like homegrown Substack, I'm reminded too of like Ethan Iverson's Transitional Technology is an incredible resource with like almost every other day or every 3 or 4 days or something. He's putting out a newsletter with some great content. Great, stuff that'll spark your imagination, either from a listening perspective or a narrative perspective or a theory perspective, even history, that kind of stuff. And this kind of stuff from Young too, amazing.
Yeah. And look, if you guys know, the hardest thing about this is it's still a little bit underground in terms of like word of mouth. I don't know that folks. I mean, maybe everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, we've been following Yannick's Substack, but if not, and if you know of something we don't know about, please drop those in the comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's something else they should do on YouTube.
Agreement?
The agreement.
The gentleman and ladies agreement.
Man, people have been adhering.
They love the agreement.
The agreement. Now, not as many ladies agreements as gentlemen. That's
Come on, ladies, you got to agree too.
Ladies, step it up. I know that our demographic sways towards the gentleman, but I know we got some ladies out there too. So the gentleman and ladies agreement. You want to explain or you want me to?
You got it. This is your baby.
Okay, this is my baby. So what is it again? I forgot. No. I remember what it is.
We give you, that's how you usually start
a beautiful, free
22-minute episode.
Oh, but what will it be by the time we end, my friend?
The episode is over, Peter. Let's be honest.
We give you this podcast lovingly crafted and curated by Adam, myself, and producer Caleb. We deliver it to you through the interwebs via YouTube, via Apple Podcasts.
Series of tubes.
Via Deezer. Via Google Podcasts. What was that other one we used to be on? We don't know. Anyway, however you're getting it, we lovingly give it to you. We only ask, nay, we require that you have made it this far, that you complete the agreement. We've done our part. We gave you the episode. If you're still here, go agree. What does that include doing?
That includes subscribing
to YouTube.
To our not our open studio, our You'll Hear It YouTube. People might not know. We have 2 YouTube channels. We have Open Studio, which is our massive behemoth, almost 200,000 subscriber YouTube channel, and then we have
Watch your back, Rick Beato.
And then we have our little baby, the You'll Hear It channel, which is what you're probably watching this on right now.
Fast growing.
It's very fast growing, but we just started this a few months ago, and it's just for the podcast, so that it has its own little lane. Yeah. And so make sure to like and subscribe to this video. And
if you want to go bonus level, you can leave us a rating review at Apple, wherever you consume this podcast. That is very helpful. It's a little harder to do,
but then what has been really popular, agreement adhered to.
That's all you got to say.
In the comments.
That's all you have to say.
You won't be the only one. I guarantee you that.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Caleb. Until next time.
You'll hear it.
Thanks, Yannick.